Are you still running your business on slow, manual spreadsheets? Your most critical data is trapped. Alice is the automated bridge that sets it free. Connect your legacy sources in minutes. Use Simple SQL to transform your data and send it directly to modern tools like Power BI. Alice automates the work so you can automate your business. Stop guessing. Finally, trust your numbers. Get started at alice.dev.
Well, I am here with Bryan Hyland, open source contributor extraordinaire. Bryan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I don't even know where to start with you. You've got your fingers in so many pies. That is a little tough. I guess maybe we should just mention the one I know most Code Radio listeners will know, libcosmic, right? Part of the Cosmic desktop.
Yeah, I actually have contributed some code to libcosmic. If you have seen the spin button, I actually revamped that when libcosmic was about to go into alpha, actually a little bit after alpha. And I actually revamped it because I didn't like the way that it worked. So when I did that, I also actually created a vertical variant of it as well. So
Oh, nice.
that's my little creation there. And then because it was a breaking change, I had to go through and fix some cosmic settings and contribute back with that as well. I figure if I broke it, I should fix it.
Really, you didn't just want to leave it kind of janky?
No, I didn't feel that was right for the community.
Fair enough. So now you tell me if I'm wrong, because I could very much be wrong, but I think the kind of part of Cosmic most people would feel familiar with is the image viewer that you've worked on.
Yep, that is what I am currently working on. I am the first contributor that they have asked to do a core component, and I am actually, I would say, about 95% done. I'm just waiting on System 76 to officially test it and give me back some bug reports so I can fix those and then turn it over to them.
Nice. And for folks who don't know, it's literally the application that opens if you click on a JPEG or something, right? If you're viewing, that kind of thing. So what is the, before I jump in, I just want to say I appreciate your work on the Wi-Fi, allowing for hidden SSIDs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a pain point. It's still kind of a pain point.
It is. Yeah. That's something that definitely needs, you just kind of need to have it, right? Because in a lot of these enterprise environments, they don't necessarily want to broadcast their SSID in the clear, because that would be not a good idea.
Yeah, that's correct. And actually, I hide my SSID here at home as well. I actually have a whole bunch of cybersecurity certifications, and
Nice.
as well as my bachelor's is actually in cybersecurity and information assurance. So I've got all kinds of VLANs and stuff, and have different Wi-Fi networks, and our main internal network is actually a hidden SSID, and that's where that Wi-Fi CLI came up. And I hate using NMCLI. It's quite a lengthy command when you want to do something. So I just wrapped it up in something that would be easier.
Something more intuitive to just figure out what the command should be. Yeah, it's funny. I'm surprised how uncommon it still is for people to hide their SSIDs. You think it would be kind of like securing your network, just one of the easy. It's kind of the easiest thing to do, right?
It is security by obscurity. It doesn't mean that,
right.
If somebody knows what they're doing, they can still do whatever they want to do as long as they understand how it works. But I like to be hidden in the noise if I can.
Yeah, I would think so, right? You don't want, if you think about it, why do you want your network screaming, here I am, right? It's kind of
exactly.
So digging into this, contributing to Cosmic, what's that been like? One of the big things that pops out to me is it's a fairly young project, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what excites me the most about it. Things like KDE and GNOME, I always wanted to contribute to them, but they're quite big code bases, right? And also they use frameworks like Qt and libidwata and all that stuff. And you actually have to jump languages. Like if you're using C++ for Qt, you also have to know the I think it's QML, or I can't remember the
Yeah,
exact.
it's the so I've done some Qt. It's their markup language is called QML. Yeah.
Yeah, and just I have ADHD, so jumping context like that is very hard for me to do, and so I was never actually able to contribute no matter how much I wanted to. And then here comes libcosmic, and I had already been using Rust for a couple of years because,
Interesting. Okay.
well, I learn anything that seems interesting, and I try to get ahead of the curve on new technologies and things like that if I can. So went ahead and started teaching myself Rust, and when I found out this is something that was written in Rust, I was like, "Oh, well, I could probably do that. Small code base, I can get in from the ground up." And that's kind of where I started on it.
So, because we talk a lot about Rust on the show, it's we have some people that listen that absolutely love it, right? For the I mean the reasons you'll always hear, the safety, all that good stuff. We have some people that hate it. Now, granted, I will say I love you guys, but I will say a subset of those people just hate it because it's new.
Yeah.
And we're putting new in air quotes here because it's not, nothing's like a week old. But
Right.
what was it that attracted you to Rust? Because I'm always curious. Because just a few years ago, we had a couple guys writing in, and there was a big. I'm sure you remember this. Like Go and Rust were going toe to toe, right? People were picking like, is Go better than Rust? Rust picking Go. I ended up doing some Rust for a couple projects, but I'm always curious how people generally make their technical decisions. But in particular, in your case, what was it about Rust that you found attractive? Was it just hearing about it a lot, or?
Well, actually, a little bit of a backstory. I actually taught myself C++ when I was being retired from the Coast Guard. I'm medically retired, and uh, I started there because all the research that I had done was that this is one of the hardest languages to self-teach, and I like a challenge. And I
There you
figured
go.
if it's a hard language, then it's probably going to be somewhat useful in multiple scenarios. So, fast forward to Rust coming up, and I, being a security minded person, I thought, okay, so this may be replacing C++ and C at some point, where everything will be shifting over in one way or another. And those languages may go the way of COBOL, or, you know, something like that. So knowing all of the languages in the systems realm would be helpful as a job, right? For job opportunities. So I just started to teach myself and dive in and fight that borrow checker, man. Yeah.
Just don't throw unsafe everywhere, right? I mean, that's the easy way to fight the barrage.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, I made a rule for myself. I am not allowed to use unsafe anywhere in any of my code unless I absolutely know that the other end of it is going to be safe.
I honestly agree with that rule. I really do, because once you start slinging that unsafe keyword, and I get it, like for language interop, you sometimes have to for stupid
Hmm.
reasons, but I feel like you give up the main advantage of Rust, which is that borrow checker being extremely disciplined on you, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, I found when I was learning Rust that it was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And it may have been because at this point I had like 8 years of experience, and, anything between C, C++, Java, the web technologies. So I found it easier with the exception of my bad habits. And once I got over those bad habits and I started to embrace the way that Rust does it, all of my code actually comes out it actually looks prettier to me.
Right.
Not just safer, but it actually looks more well thought out. When I go look at my old stuff, I'm like, I should probably just delete this from public view. But I kind of keep that stuff up as a way to remind myself and others that you can grow. So
That makes a ton of sense.
yeah.
It's funny too because I would think that okay, you're starting to contribute open source in a language you just kind of started to grok.
hmm
LibCosmic seems like a tough place to start, right? I mean, there's so many things that touch each other. It is a desktop environment, which it is just inherently very complex. How did you find that onboarding process?
I actually found it quite easy. I think getting in at the ground level though was made it a little easier because
Hmm.
it didn't have to go through the QA that it currently has to go through. And so like the developers just looked at it, ran it, tested it, said, yep, it's good. It passes, all of our formatting checks and things in CI are GitHub Actions. And it, so it was a little easier back then to get in. And then once you know the code base and how things actually touch each other, and, you kind of got to remember this is before the AI revolution came through and told you what touched each other.
Right. You
Like
had to actually look.
officially, yeah, you actually had to look, and there's no documentation or anything like that. And I'm one of those weird people that love to read code anyway, so I just r- read everything I could possibly read within the repos. Really helps that they had examples that they still have examples, but I don't think they're as up to date as they should be currently
Right.
because they've been so busy on trying to get things working
Well,
appropriately.
right, and they're always working on drivers, right, and getting,
Right.
new editions of Pop with Cosmic. Should probably point out that Cosmic is a desktop environment, even though it's probably most closely associated with Pop, but you can run it on other stuff such as like Fedora, right, other distros.
Absolutely.
Um,
And you can actually run the core applications, like the terminal. You can actually run those on Mac and Windows as well.
so how does that work? Does it just pull in libcosmic or
I have only done it through rebuilding. I don't know if you can do like an
like a straight
installation
install?
or anything
Okay,
like that, but I actually at work I actually run the Cosmic terminal through WSL.
nice.
So because it's much better than the Windows, or I hate everything about Windows and I'm forced to use it at work. So yeah, so that's h- you can recompile it and it does run on Windows. You may be missing an icon or two, but I actually was writing something for Windows in libcosmic, and actually put a bug fix in for compiling for Windows because of something I was having to create for Windows.
Oh, that's super cool. So you actually went for the libcosmic toolchain because why you just prefer it or because you felt it was
I do prefer it.
okay.
I like the MVC concept.
Sure.
It's very structured, and that structure again, because of my ADHD, helps me understand the whole code base and keep it in context. Because I know that the view lives here, and this this page's state lives in this part of the code base at all times. The main application state lives here. I know where the updates are going to happen because I have a clear separation of where that boundary is. So I do
Makes
find it easier to work with.
Yeah, so and it does how strictly does libcosmic enforce that MVC paradigm? And I should probably define for some of our listeners who are students. MVC is model view controller, right? So models are basically your data models. Views are exactly what they sound like, the thing the user looks at, and controllers handle the passing data between the models and the views. Overly simplified, but that's your basic thing. If you've ever looked at Rails, Rails is forcing MVC as well, or tries to. Yeah.
Yeah, so it actually you kind of have to follow the MVC. It's very strict. There is no way that you can get around it because everything happens in that update function. You have to make sure that you're passing that state, you're updating that state directly in there. That's the only place that the state can be modified. Pretty much everything else is not mutable. It's all immutable. And the view, you can't go and try to change a variable value within the view. You really can't change values within the subscriptions either. It all happens within the update function.
Which honestly is a super clean way to do it. And just forcing that paradigm prevents a whole number of bugs, right? It's crazy things where people try to write, UI and have race conditions in their UI. It's kind of harder to do that if you're just updating state and that is propagating to the UI.
Absolutely. And that also, when I have done a little bit of game development as well, and that ECS, I remember when Unity introduced Entity Component System, and it separated the data from the actual UI itself, from the game objects. I was extremely excited, and that's the way that Bevy works as well. Is it's an ECS system, and I kind of viewed libcosmic as an ECS type way of doing things as well. With the MVC, is like you have your UI in a certain area, and then you have your state, and you always know what that state is going to be because of the way that it's separated out.
Yeah, makes no sense. Which is just backtracking a little. Bevy is a Rust game engine, is that right?
Yeah, it is.
You gotta tell me a little bit about that.
So I haven't used it a whole lot. I've created like a little like what is it called, the game where the aliens come down. I can't remember the name of it right now.
Space Invaders, or
Space Invaders. I made a little Space Invaders clone with it. I've done some stuff just to learn about it because I don't play games very often, but I love video games. But I like the internals of them. It fascinates me how you can get, back in the NES and SNES and the 8-bit, 16-bit days, how you could get so much content in that little bitty space. And so the internals fascinate me. And so understanding how Bevy worked was a goal of mine when I was first learning Rust. It actually helped me learn it because it put it in a perspective that I could understand. And it doesn't have an editor like a Unity or anything like that. You have to lay everything out in code, which to me is fine, but a lot of people it's kind of discouraging for. But yeah, it is a Entity Component System game engine.
Super interesting. Yeah, I have also dabbled in the game development thing, and I ended up just writing a small engine in C++ because I really don't like those editors. It's just, I don't know. It must be the days of being forced to use things like Dreamweaver way back in the day.
Yeah, I remember.
I want a text file, right? Let me just pop open NeoVim and VS Code and go to town.
Absolutely. That's how I feel as well. I've tried Unreal Engine. I've done Unity. I have dabbled in Godot, but man, that is a very confusing editor to use to me. And I prefer, honestly, if I were to write a game today, I would go look up the Bevy documentation, and I would go to town that way, because editors kind of just get in my way.
Yeah, and you're basically learning the tool, not really doing development. I mean, I know that a lot of people will flag that as like, that's crazy. Tools are, but I hear you. If you like it, you like it. People who like, we have a lot of people who do like hobby game development or are professional game developers and love Unity. That right in.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. But there's, I don't know if you remember these days, the Flash editors.
I do.
I mean, there were people who were like Flash ninjas, right? They could go pop open the Adobe Flash app. I forgot what the name of the editor was, but and really make something beautiful. And then that didn't go well for them because Steve Jobs hated Adobe. So
Yeah.
yeah, but their core competency was like, or even Dreamweaver, right? Their core competency was like knowing Dreamweaver.
Yeah, they weren't
Yeah.
really, in my opinion. I mean, I was introduced to Dreamweaver in the 10th grade. I took a web development class, and back in the days of Dreamweaver, Fireworks, and Flash.
That was the same in school, same stack. Yep.
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 And I was like, wow, this is really cool, but I didn't actually write any code. Like, where's where's the HTML? Where's the CSS? I don't get it.
Yeah. It was a wild time. I mean, I remember reading, in fact, I even like started reading about Adobe Air thinking, oh my God, this is going to be the next big thing. And that just never got off the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Brian. Well, I always wrap up with the same question for everybody. It's a little weird, but it's, what is one tool you can't live without? It doesn't have to be software development or work related at all. You just cannot be the creator of the tool.
Because I'm a listener of the show, I have been thinking about this since we started scheduling to do the interview here, and it's been very hard for me to come up with something. But I think it's probably my little computer collection I've got here.
Nice.
I've got 2 systems, 76 laptops, a Dell XPS 13, and a custom built desktop, and they all have their own like little purpose. Nothing crosses over in the realm of the other. If I have a certain job to do, I go directly to that computer. So I would say it would be, yeah, my collection here.
That makes a ton of sense. Yeah, I'm the same way. I have my Oryx Pro that I do basically most of my development on, and I have this Mac that I do any kind of like audio or any of the show editing stuff if I have to.
Mm-hmm.
Although I am thinking of bringing that over. It's just one of those things, not enough time in the day. I'm curious, are you running Cosmic on all of those, or do you kind of dabble?
So I actually am running Cosmic on the 270 System 76 laptops and the desktop, and then the Dell, I actually have Aaron OS on it because I'm the Cosmic package maintainer for Aaron OS as well.
Oh, nice.
So it's my build machine for Aaron OS.
That's really cool. Yeah. So Aaron is another Linux distro, correct?
Yeah, it's in alpha right now, but it's more atomic and not immutable. So you can actually change things within the root file system, with the exception of the user, the /usr directory. And so that's kind of where the state lives. And you can, like all atomic things, right? You can roll back, and if a package, creates an issue, then it automatically rolls back to the last snapshot. The big thing about Aaron OS that I thought, which is formerly Serpent OS, if anybody is familiar with that, but they've changed their name since. Before I joined, actually, I joined while it's been Aaron OS. But the Moss package manager, which that's not given it enough credit. It's more than a package manager. Is one of the most powerful tools I have ever seen, and the developers of that and Boulder, which is their build tool, they're amazing. It's all written in Rust. As soon as I get more time, I will actually dive back into contributing to Moss and Boulder. But yeah, it's pretty amazing. If you haven't checked out Aaron OS, please do so.
No, I definitely should. I haven't. I've been it doesn't matter, but I've been doing a pretty deep dive into Cosmic, and yeah, just because it's new, doing reviews, and
Right.
it's become my daily driver. So, but I'm always finding like little new things in it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, the thing about Aaron is that like I said, I'm the cosmic maintainer for it, and we do our best to keep it up to date with the tags. So there for a little bit, I was running a weekly off of main. I actually automated it, wrote a bash script, and would just kick off the bash script. Would run it off main there for a little bit, but since the tags came out to make my life a little easier, I just go off the tags now. So that was a weekly thing. As soon as libcosmic is actually being rebased to iced 014, which has some huge improvements to it. As soon as that rebase is completed, then they'll go back to doing weekly tags. But yeah, it's pretty exciting. And like you said, Cosmic is a desktop environment just like KDE, and it's not tied to Pop! OS at all. That's where you're going to get the most up-to-date version of it, but it is on other Linux distributions as well. And so if you love it, then just try out Aaron OS. I would, because it is technically alpha, I would say do it in a virtual machine. I was crazy and just like jumped into it on bare metal hardware, but don't do what I do.
I say that a lot. All right, Bryan, it's been a pleasure, and I hope to have you on again. Let's see if we can get any more contributing help to libcosmic.
Yeah, and if there's anybody out there that wants to contribute to any of my open source projects as well, I'm actually shifting over to Codeberg, but I have some in GitHub as
nice.
well. I'm BHH32 pretty much everywhere, so Reddit, Codeberg, GitHub. I think that's pretty much my moniker everywhere I go now.
Okay, and I'll throw that in the show notes. Yeah, and we'll go from there. So, all right, guys, if you want to reach out to Bryan, it's all going to be in the show notes. And seriously, do give contributing a shot. It's not as scary as it looks.
Oh no, I love it. It actually enhanced my life.
See that? All right, Bryan, I'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.